Good afternoon, grade 7 students. In this video, we're going to talk about our new lesson, which is respiration, part 1. Can we live on Mars? This is the big question. Can we live on Mars? Sure, we can't. We need air to breathe. So what do you know about respiration? What the meaning of respiration? What does oxygen gas give? What the meaning of carbon dioxide, and from where did we get these gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide, they are known to be gases. Okay? So gases, they fill the space around us. You take this in chemistry and in physics. Okay, so before we start, let's move to the anatomy of the respiratory system. Let's discover our respiratory system. Respiratory system of humans is composed of different organs. They are indicated in the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. What are these organs? Let's start first step. So number one, it's the nose. This is the nose. Number two, it's the mouth. Number three, it's the pharynx here. The pharynx, and we have the larynx. Here we have the windpipe, it's called the trachea. Also, we have the one of the most important organs in the respiratory system. It's the lung. The lung is the one of the most important part of the respiratory system. So, started first with the nose, then we have the mouth, then we have the pharynx, here the pharynx, and here we have the larynx below it. After the pharynx and the larynx, we have the trachea. The trachea is called the windpipe. Also, we have the lungs, which is one of the most important organs of the respiratory system. Inside the lungs, they are branched into bronchus. And the bronchioles, they are small branches here. They are called bronchioles. Okay, so bronchioles, and the sacs, the air sacs, the sac that contain the air that's found inside the lungs is called the alveoli. So this is the anatomy of the respiratory system. As I said, we have the nose, we have the mouth, we have the pharynx, we have the larynx, we have the trachea, which is the windpipe here in white in color, here this one. Also we have the lungs, which is the most important organ inside the respiratory system. It's the lung. And then we have this bronchus, the bronchioles, and finally we have the alveoli. Bronchus is the branches here, it's called the bronchus. The bronchioles, they are the smaller branches, they are called the bronchioles, and the smaller parts, which called the air sacs that contain the air, is called the alveoli. So here we're going to trace the pathway of air along the respiratory system. The pathway of air, we start first at the level of the nose. Then we move to the pharynx. You have to study this by order. So nose, pharynx, then it moves to the larynx, to the trachea, which is the windpipe, the bronchus, bronchioles, and finally to the alveoli. So the air enters through the respiratory system first to the nose, then to the pharynx, to the larynx, to the windpipe, to the trachea, then to the bronchus, this is the bronchioles, and finally the air sacs where the air is going to reach this region. It's called the alveoli. What is the breathing? Breathing is the mechanical intake of air. Breathing is composed of two phases, and pay attention to these phases. First phase is called inhalation, and the second is called exhalation. These are called the respiratory movement. For example, pay attention to me. Here, I'm inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Put your hand here and try it whenever I'm explaining. Put your hand here on your chest. Put your hand on your chest and try it. Inhale. What will happen? Your chest will raise up. Exhale. Well, the chest will lower down, will be lowered. So whenever we inhale, put your hand here and try it. Put your hand on your chest. 1, 2, 3. We inhale. Exhale, the chest will be lowered down. So whenever we inhale, the chest will be raised. Whenever we exhale, chest will be lowered. Inhalation. What is inhalation? It's the process of taking in air. Also, it's called inspiration. The taking air in inside the body is called inhalation. How can we know inhalation and exhalation? How can we know the difference? We will know. Exhalation is the process of releasing air outside the body. So Adam is inhaling. I'm taking in air. I'm taking air inside my body. So inhalation. While exhaling, I'm releasing air outside, out, exit. So exhalation. Okay? So breathing is composed of how many phases? Two phases. Number one, it's called inhalation. When we inhale, we take air in. While exhalation, when we release air outside the body. Okay, so let's continue to this figure. This is a figure that shows the difference between breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, what the meaning of breathing in is taking air in. So whenever we inhale, the chest will expand, the chest will contract. So breathing in, the chest expand, will increase in size. Why? Like I'm inflating a balloon. Whenever I inflate a balloon, the balloon will increase in size. And whenever we breathe out, the chest will contract. So this is called the breathing. So breathing is a chest expand, breathing out, the chest will contract. Okay? Diaphragm. The diaphragm, this is a muscle below the lungs. This muscle, during breathing, it will contract. It makes contraction. While during breathing out, the diaphragm will relax. Okay? This is the difference between inhalation and exhalation. So breathing in, the chest will expand. Ribs, these are the ribs, the thoracic cage. Okay? So during breathing, the chest, or my chest, during breathing, will expand, will increase in size, and during breathing out, the chest will contract, will goes back to its position. Diaphragm, its muscle, it contracts during the breathing and it relaxes during exhalation. So this is the table that shows the difference between inhalation and exhalation. Position of the thoracic cage during inhalation. I said that inhalation is called inspiration as well, while exhalation is called expiration as well. So, inhalation is when we inhale air inside the body. Inhalation. So, the lungs will be inflated or deflated. Inflated يعني عم بينتفخوا ولا عم بينفسوا. Inflated during the inhalation will be inflated, will be full of air, while during exhalation they will be deflated. The air will go outside. Thoracic cage. Put your hand on your chest like this. Whenever you inhale, the thoracic cage size will increase or decrease. Sure, it will increase. It increase. Why? When we exhale, the thoracic cage size will diminish or decrease. Okay? Pathway of air. During inhalation, from where did we get air? We get air from outside to inside. They come from outside into the nose and the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchus, the bronchioles, and finally the alveoli. While exhalation is from inside to outside. I'm going to so air is going to be released from my body to the outside. So to pay attention to this table, this is a very important table. During inhalation, the thoracic cage is raised, while during exhalation, it's lowered. State of the lungs. During inhalation, they will be full of air, so they are inflated, while during exhalation, they are deflated. They release their air outside the body. Volume of the thoracic cage. During inhalation, the volume of the thoracic cage. This is the thoracic cage, the ribs. Okay? This is the thoracic cage. So you have, if you put your hand here, you have bones. If you put your hand here, we have bones. These bones represent the thoracic cage. يقولون بالعربي القفص الصدري. So thoracic cage, the size of the thoracic cage will increase when the volume will increase during inhalation, while it will decrease or diminish during exhalation. Pathway of air is going to be from outside to inside, whereas exhalation from inside to outside. This is everything related to the session. Here we have two important notes for the worksheets that I leave them for the live session. So all of you pay attention very well to these characteristics. What are the characteristics that makes the alveoli a site for gaseous exchange? The exchange of gases occur at the level of the alveoli. So we take in oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. This is called the gaseous exchange. This occurs at the level of the alveoli. What makes the alveoli the best site or the best place for the gaseous exchange? Till now, grade 7, you have two characteristics. The alveoli you are rich in blood vessels. They contain very high number of blood vessels. We call it highly vascularized, meaning that highly rich in the blood vessels. So the first characteristic that make the alveoli the site of exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, first one, it's rich in blood vessels. This is a new idea. You have to pay attention to this. This is important for the quiz. So rich in blood vessels, highly vascularized. Number two, it has thin wall. The alveoli have very thin wall which allow the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we get in oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is the difference between the characteristics, sorry, of the alveoli. So you have to study both of them. You have to study that the characteristics that make the alveoli a good site, a good place for the gaseous exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. First one, it's rich in blood vessels, contain high number of blood vessels. We call it highly vascularized. And it has thin wall. These two properties, they are very important or very important to know about the gaseous exchange. So rich in blood and have a thin wall. Very good, I think. Very good. So these are the characteristics. You have to study these notes. That's why it's important to join the live session because there is important note here. So important note number one, and every week we will do this. We'll put an important note in the live session. So it's the characteristic that make the alveoli a site for gaseous to change is rich in blood vessels, highly vascularized. This is one, or you can use either rich in blood vessels or highly vascularized, but I recommend to study both, to know both of them. Rich in blood vessels, it means highly vascularized and thin wall. Okay, let's move to what does the verb compare mean? Comparison. Comparison, for example, I want to compare Mr. Muhammad to Mr. Ahmad, let's say. Mr. Muhammad and Mr. Ahmad, both of them, they are males. This is similarities. Differences, Mr. Ahmad is taller than Mr. Muhammad. So this is the comparison. So I'm comparing first according to the sex, whether male or female. I said that Mr. Muhammad and Mr. Ahmad both are males. This is a similarity. While when I said Mr. Ahmad is taller than Mr. Muhammad. So this means that I'm talking about the difference. One of the differences is the height. So Mr. Ahmad is taller than Mr. Ahmad is, for example, 190 centimeters, while Mr. Muhammad is 170. So you have to compare using the numbers. I can say Mr. Ahmad is 190 centimeter, which is taller than Mr. Muhammad, which is 170 or 180, whatever. So compare, I have to use less than or greater than. Okay, this is the verb compare. We're going to use it a lot during this session. So showing similarities and differences between two things, two objects, two individuals, according to given criteria. Criteria according to different characteristics, according to the height, according to the sex, whether male or female. Mr. Ahmad, for example, is, for example, weights more than Mr. Muhammad, okay, according to the weight, and so on. So these are the criteria. This is the meaning of criteria. Hope everything is clear, and now we finish the session. Thank you.